pressure on your side. How do you alleviate that pressure?
Yeah, look, I think we're taking too long on the ball. You know, I think we need to play on the outside instead of the inside. That's where we're losing a lot of possession. So, you know, we address that and hopefully that improves, you know, in the second half.
A lot of variations from the corner, Paddy. How many left to go that you haven't tried yet?
I don't know, to be honest. Hopefully we can get more chances like for those variations.
And hopefully the seat for you in the second half is as comfortable as it was on the first in the Esky. Paddy, thanks for your time.
Appreciate it, thank you.
You can swivel around now, Patrick Isnorbo, and watch the rest. I couldn't imagine Bielsa doing an interview mid-game, so we thank all the coaches for their time.
Yeah.
We'd just like to get their insight about what they got across to their team.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Adam. And also just congratulations again to Melbourne City for acknowledging the community service people like police who turn up for work every day in sometimes very difficult circumstances. So, you know, massive credit to Melbourne City for that acknowledgement. And indeed, even better acknowledgement to the people that we're remembering.
Noon's cross is blocked. Coletti skews his clearance, but Halloran, who would have been grateful for the 15 minutes reprieve from Melbourne City players snapping at his ankles. But Adelaide win a foul there. And Cassini Yengi into the fray, Harps.
Yeah, so...
You're a fan?
Oh, I'm a massive fan. There's probably been a bit of comment in the last few weeks that maybe Carl Viet has not changed things maybe promptly enough. And strangely, on that first half evidence, you could have easily expected Carl Viet to have said, well, you know what, we're going pretty well. We had plenty of chances to score, so let's believe in what we're doing. But I applaud him for making the change. That firepower on the bench can send shivers through opposing defenders, and I'm expecting Yengi to do just that in this second half.
It's been a real feature of the A-League this season. You see the starting lineups, you go, okay, that's the pattern, but then you look at the bench and you go, with a lot of teams, there's so much excitement on the bench, and when tired bodies are out there having to contend with these players, many of whom are young Australian players, it's given the league a different dimension. Metcalf got rid of Elsey pretty simply, but Elsey wins the foul.
Also just noticing Connor Metcalf, and I didn't see it in the first half, but that left thigh is very heavily strapped. Keep a watching brief on that. He has just been outstanding this season. What a talent.
Yengi, his ball is Goodwin looping around. Yeah, Metcalf, the once described pint-sized midfielder. A lot of pressure from Halloran on Jamison.
There hasn't been a lot of time for either set of players to dwell on the ball. It's made it a really watchable contest. It's got Jamison speaking to us at half-time. We appreciate that time as well, but he said how noticeable it was that Adelaide had a bit of bite in them tonight. Ben Halloran probably feels like he's entitled to have a couple of lashes back. He got hit heavily a couple of times in that first half.
Just on Urich, it's the 10th time in a game this season he's been subbed, and he's only played the full 90 on 4 occasions.
Well, one of the things about Tommy, and he spoke about this, was quite getting his body right for action. He missed a lot because there was tightness that they couldn't really diagnose. He's got a massive supporter in Carl Viet, understandably so. And so they'll be looking forward to...
Oh, opportunity here, Noon, and Yengi was the most alert to it out there in yellow, because the two on the mark, or back the 10 yards, were, well, half asleep, and it allowed that ball to be played through in the first place.
Yengi in that front central defender's position, actually, but he cut it out beautifully. Variation number 12.
How do they find the time?
Well, how do they find the different arm movements?
Noon. All the way back, and it's over the back. I think it was O'Neill in the end.
Yeah, he was definitely using Stephen Mork as a ladder.
We saw a nice little variation from Adelaide United as well in the first half. That's the domain of Ross Aloisi. To wake up in the middle of the night, have the notepad on the, next to the nightshade to just flick the light on and quickly write down something he's dreamt about. And some set pieces. Yankee, that's the presence. Unfortunately, didn't see Tilio kind of hiding just out of his sight line there. Halloran looking for Mork. Back there is good. And listen to that from the Adelaide bench. Everyone up, screaming, but O'Neill's able to break a line to start with. Noon finds Elsie. Goodwin's in a fair bit of space over on the left. Dorigo supporting. Goodwin ignores him. Yankee with a little touch. Halloran with the chance. More than a chance. Adelaide are right back in it. What a start to the second half for the away side. And there's a City player down who hasn't moved much. Aidan O'Neill's got a leg problem. Wow.
Well, this all started, and I'm really happy to report, with this pinging switch of play from Jordan Elsey. It was he, of course, who deflected the ball past Elianov for the first goal. And Aidan O'Neill has collected his own man. Cassini Yengi was causing trouble. Craig Goodwin puts the ball in the danger zone. Tommy Glover at full stretch, but deflects it only into the path of Ben Halloran, who's been very dangerous tonight. He finds the back of the net and makes it game on. But what a switch of play that was from Jordan Elsey. Beautiful ball, flat, hard. And enabled Adelaide to attack with gusto from there.
Ben Halloran scored important goals for Adelaide last season, 9. He's up to 4 for this campaign. That's a massive one. And poor old Aidan O'Neill just got trampled by friendly fire. It was his own foot, own teammate Curtis Good trampled on him. It was nasty. I was ball watching. I missed the initial contact. I was wondering why there was someone down. I don't have to wonder anymore, because that will bruise in the morning.
He's at his own one with injury, Aidan O'Neill, so we're all hoping he can bounce back from this.
He had a stress fracture of the lower back, the sacrum. Looks to be walking freely, so he'll be reintroduced, and it's reward for Ben Halloran, who's been heavily involved for Adelaide in an attacking sense tonight.
Ben Halloran's asking the question I think a lot of people are asking: why is this taking so long?
Why didn't he go off behind the goal?
Why? Of course, the player needs to be watched out for, but the ref really needs to speed this up.
Mork speeding things up for Adelaide again, as he's putting the ball back, and City, are they unsure of themselves? Are they rattled? How much are they rattled? Mork in a pocket of space, looking for Yengi with the quick delivery into the box. Coletti flips it over his head. Jamison, an ugly touch. He just couldn't get it all right, his body positioning, but he does win a foul. Thought he was late to that, Cassini Yengi.
Well, terrific pressure this from Adelaide.
Great angle for Craig Goodwin, just to use the natural whip a left footer can get on it into the box, and inviting either a Yengi or an Elsie to just get a little touch on it and confuse Tom Glover. Taking his time. Craig Goodwin. Goes long. Timotheu. It was. It worked out perfectly. Goodwin, hands on head, jumping up and down, thinking I couldn't have put it in front of him any better. And George, unfortunately, just loops it over.
Well, Timotheu's general improvement has been sensational, I think, since he's been integrated into the team. Michael Jakobsen out with an injury. He's just knocked that one up horribly. He's got such a sweet left foot too, and it was such a playable height, and you're expecting it to be 2-2 at that moment.
The season, first minutes in the A-League, he sat on the bench a few times for Sydney FC before he went overseas. And you don't know his story. It's a fascinating one. Played Bundesliga with Schalke. Went over to Belgium. They found a really serious heart problem, which he had to get fixed. And he's come back to Australia to get minutes in senior football. And here he is playing for Adelaide, an important role as well. Carl Jakobsen was named in the squad tonight. Not quite right. They're thinking he'll be right for their next game against Brisbane on the weekend. Coletti. And the left through Cavallo. Incidentally, one of Adelaide's #1 news hounds, Robbie Cornthwaite, got in contact to point out that Cavallo's actually got himself a new 2-year deal announced by the club. Coletti's got a fair piece of Berenguer there, and King, is he going to go to his book? He is. Second Adelaide player in the book. Stephen Mork, the other one. 2 in the book for City, Griffiths and Noon.
Yeah, yellow card. He's limped away himself, Joe Coletti, so he's picked up a knock somewhere along the way.
Archie, what do you make of the opening 10 or so minutes in this second half?
Yeah, it's been a real swing. You can feel the atmosphere drop a little bit after Adelaide goal. And it was a beautiful finish, because that's where you want to hit it. You want to hit it to the top of the net, and that's always so difficult, especially at speed. But a wonderful finish. But you can just tell with the message from Carl Viet to his players, and you can obviously hear it over the TV, is that to put on that pressure, to press them high, and it's certainly working, because at the moment, Melbourne City just seem to be not having any answers. And we saw it at the game against Brisbane Roar, just the game before this one. It was 2-0 up, and then that quickly swung and became 2-2. So for Melbourne City, they just need to tighten up and get hold of the ball again.
Yeah, Yengi just a little hesitant. He slipped at the start there in that chase down, but generally, I think when he's pressurising players, he needs to take a leaf out of a lot of his teammates and just hair after people. And not run next to them in a sort of box-ticking exercise, but run people with menace like now, really force the issue, like Craig Goodwin's doing. Galloway has to earn his supper. Halloran straight in there. That's good pressure from Adelaide. A leaf out of Melbourne City's book. Here we go again.
He's fitted really well at right back for Adelaide United. Pressured by Noon to that one, but Alex King saw a foul on it.
Yeah, I thought there was a foul on it. Eddie's just waited for another pass or two to see if any advantage is going to come. Good refereeing.
Should be Glovers. It is. It skids through. Just bit of an example about Melbourne City and how Adelaide United have made it difficult, their supply line through to City's dangerous players. Jamie McLaren averages 22 touches on the ball a game. Tonight so far through an hour, he's only been on the ball 10 times. And he's paid to had the last touch into the game. It's quality, not quantity, is what he is about, Jamie McLaren. Gets another one there to help Noon go into the corner and win a corner. So another variation coming, perhaps. Hands in the air.
Well, Craig Noon's had that many touches just from corners. That many routines with the arms. He looks like the village people sometimes.
Which one do you reckon he'd be? Leave that to him.
I'm just waiting for the complete YMCA rendition.
Just the one hand that time. Aaron Gare. It's met by Timoteo. Titilio. Jamison. And Noon. Loves that move. Shapes the cross and takes it back the other way. Always asking question of his defender. Yankee comes away with it. Skips one and is away, Cassini. He's looking up for the big switch straight away. Tilio's in front of him. Across is good. Cassini still got it. He's taking them all on. Good comes again and squeaks out to Metcalf. And there's a problem here for Adelaide at the back. Timoteo went to ground and he had to get it right and did.
Great defending. Yengi carried the ball out beautifully, and he had an opportunity once he'd set the Melbourne City defence up just to tow it and run. I don't know if Marco Tilio would have kept up with him. I really don't. But Tilio did enough with his presence to spook Cassini Yengi, and the Melbourne City support arrived in time.
We've got a terrific last half hour ahead of us here at Amy Park. Two very good football sides. One chasing a premiership. Adelaide United chasing, probably realistically, the top two spot. Premier's plate not out of reach if they can come back for a famous win here. They've got smart young players to come off the bench. Old heads doing their thing, and exciting established players as well. The high-quality game of A-League football. Unfortunately, Halloran couldn't bring that down, but they'll get another go, Adelaide, off the throw-in. Dorigo. Mork, a lung-busting run, but good. Was where he needed to be. Corner, Adelaide.
And under pressure from Stephen Mork. Very important player in these circumstances. Stephen Mork, because as Adelaide push, and they've had great intensity tonight, his constant runs forward can profit off errant touches, deflections, the pressure he puts defenders on. They might create a misstep.
Halloran. Goodwin. Don't get their opportunity to rehearse set piece right there, Adelaide. Now they have to get back and defend. They do have numbers back there. It's about 8 on 3 at this stage, so City will have to get it completely right to produce a shot on target. They can't. Halloran. Maroney's stayed inside after running back quickly in transition. Yengi thought about going over the shoulder to Halloran. Unfortunately for him, though, he gives away the foul.
Nice turn and a worthwhile effort to put Griffiths under pressure, and then a good shift to force that pass from Curtis Good. But it's excellent from Good to get the ball out to Noon.
Here is Noon, left foot, and it was always rising. Delianov having a right go at the man that was on him there, Craig Noon, for not closing him down sooner. Archie Thompson, is there a little bit of apprehension about Melbourne City on the bench, or are they still relatively comfortable?
Yeah, I think they're obviously a little bit nervous because of the way that Adelaide are playing, especially this later part of the second half. He looks like he's going to his bench. Kolakowski and Adrian Luna are starting to warm up, maybe just to add a bit more fluency. I know that he was a bit concerned about the way that his team was giving up easy possession, and that's something he wants to see improve.
Coletti's yelling for a free kick. He wins it. Metcalf got him. Archie Thompson, you were having a chat to Daniel Georgievski as well at half-time. Your old mate from Melbourne Victory.
Yeah, nothing about football. I was more concerned about that hairstyle than anything, but I think that's the fashion now, and I think even Andy Harper thought it was Angelo Costanza at one stage there.
Arch, that was our secret. Don't let Daniel hear that.
Hey, and you're crossing back to two blokes who would happily be able to do that with their hair.
And that's a massive rap for Ange Costanza, too, by the way, who has been in a good paddock the last decade.
Halloran over the top to Goodwin. Oh, side netting. When perhaps the cutback was on because Yengi and also Mork are on top of the 6-yard box.
Great chance. Halloran's been outstanding. It's a speculator in one sense and very narrow. Wow, what an angle that was nearly navigated by Craig Goodwin.
So much more to come out of this one. This is a superb setup as far as finishes go. We've seen some good ones this season. The fatigue factor, does that play a part for Melbourne City, even though they're superbly conditioned? Played on Sunday against Brisbane. Adelaide, by the way, this is their first game of 4 in 11 days, so they'll have to be right physically to get through this tricky period. Here's Goodwin flying down the left. He does cut it back this time, but Good's there. And as far as Cavallo, trying all kinds of moves on Aidan O'Neill, who just stands his ground and does well.
Well, have a look at that ball through from Cavallo, not the one then when he's hit for the throw-in. The threaded ball for Goodwin. That was exquisite from Josh Cavallo.
He's a player in form. Javi Lopez is not too far away as well for Adelaide United, returning to first-team action. It's a triple sub. So Nuno Reis, centre-back. Kolakovski, winger. Luna, midfield. So all over the park they're making changes here. Melbourne City. Craig Noon, so Kolakovski for him. Luna for Metcalf. Aidan O'Neill for Nuno Reis, which means Roston Griffiths in all probability goes into midfield. It's the earliest Connor Metcalf has come off in a game this season, so perhaps you're right about that thigh strapping playing a part.
Well, you'd reckon, based on the fact that the way he was covering the ground, let's rest him now if he is a bit tight. Luna, a wonderful player to throw into the mix for Melbourne City. Just look at this little ball from Josh Cavallo. Carries it through under pressure, head up, where am I going? What a cushion, beautiful, threaded it magnificently. That is such a good pass. Fabulous from the youngster.
There's about a 10-centimetre margin of error on that.
Beautiful.
And running at speed with the outside of the boot as well. Player in form. Yengi just throwing himself to try and stop that. He can't. And Kolakovski's away looking for McLaren, but Elsey gets in front of him.
Timmy Kerr appreciates the support from his central defensive partner. Well done, Jordan Elsey. Just the one where you couldn't call it a blemish, really, but he stuck a leg out to that Jamison shot on goal. And the deflection flew in for Melbourne City's first. He's been great since. Jordan Elsey, including that magnificent pass to set up the Adelaide goal.
Some pressure coming from Adelaide on the ball. It's been a feature and a reason why they've got back into it. Yengi's about 5 metres offside.
You know what? With the youngster, he switched off. He didn't work on the press with Stephen Mork. He was still dreaming about something. Drifted offside, and Cavallo with the speculator. And Yengi, if he stays in the game, would have been away. A little lesson there.
a little change here. Joe Coletti is the player to make way. Al Hassan Toure will go and support Yengi just behind the striker. Dorigo's dropped back into the number 6 role, even though he's pressing the opposition number 6 there, the defensive midfielder Roston Griffiths playing back. Such is what Carl Veart wants his players to do, and City are trying to play out. Here's Maroney trying to get on the ball. Again, they swarm, but again, City are good enough to play through. Tilio so smooth, and a little deflection from McLaren to Berenguer, and now Luna, and there's problems here for Adelaide United. Kolakowski looking for the shot. Berenguer asking for it. Penalty, though. Kolakowski went again, and Cavallo, unfortunately for him, has given away the spot kick.
Yeah, there's no doubt about this one. And there was a scrap on the near touchline, which Melbourne City won. And then they struck forward with real pace and purpose.
Jamie McLaren for his 23rd goal of the campaign. His record from the spot in A-League football, 16 from 19. James Delianoff has faced one as an A-League player and couldn't save it. Now's a pretty good time to get off the mark if he can. McLaren buries it. Delianoff didn't know which way to go. Melbourne City do. It's now 3-1, and Jamie McLaren has equalled his season record. It's 23 for the campaign.
Well, Cavallo's been great, but he was too keen there. McLaren hasn't had much to do tonight, but he's bang on when it counted. And Melbourne City, perhaps against the run of play, have reinstated their 2-goal buffer.
And he's got Bobo in sight. Now 4. He'll have 5 more games after this one to break that record. Melbourne City themselves a little more comfort now. Now 3-1, and the hole for Adelaide United just got deeper. Good enough to get out of it, though, and there's time. There's 20 minutes plus. Elsey looking for Yengi or Halloran. Yengi has time under the ball. Mork is pushed off it. Tilio. And Luna running behind from Kolakowski. It was for him. McLaren got in the way and had a shot. Berenguer. Jamison looking to provide support on the left. He elects to go in, the Frenchman. Berenguer, oh, what a save from James Delianoff. He didn't dive for the penalty, but how did he do that? That was world class.
Second great save of the night, and more evidence that if you just slacken off a fraction, Melbourne City are likely to pick their way through. Lovely exchange on the edge of the box. Great hit from Florent Berenguer. It looked like goal number 4 for all money. And Delianoff, for the second time tonight, at full stretch, saves his team. Wonderful work.
The corner for City. Luna. Jamison drills that one in. Yengi meets it. Goodwin misses it. Tilio. Here comes this pressure again from Adelaide on the ball, but City are good enough. Griffiths, the calming influence at this side. Got a big role to play, especially with Curtis Good likely to jet off with the Socceroos. It looks like Archie Thompson's mate, Daniel Georgievski, is going to make his Melbourne City debut. Hassan Toure, his first involvement. Attack down. Halloran and Alassane Toure and Mork having an argument with Alex King about the intent on that tackle. It's a similar kind of position, Harps, that they got it right here, Adelaide United. Last time Craig Goodwin can send in one of these free kicks. See if they can do it again.
Timoteo was on the end of the last one. Bit straight up the angle here.
It's floated over, but it's beyond everyone in yellow. They were a little too wide to start with, and Glover's pretty happy. It skids through to him. Archie, how's the mood on the Adelaide bench after conceding that penalty?
Yeah, really disappointed. You can almost sense that they were a bit deflated because they were well in that game, and there's still a lot to be had. Still with this later period of the second half, but you could sense that if Adelaide had got that goal, they would have maybe gone on a little bit more. But certainly deflated. I think for Josh Cavello making that challenge a little bit rash, and that's maybe that inexperience that we're talking about at that wide. I think he's been fantastic up until that point, but probably didn't really need to make that challenge. And unfortunately, the buffer's gone back out. But look, they're still in the game. They've got the quality up front and the speed. It's just about getting those guys into some space to be able to run at defenders. But for me, this is probably one of the first games I've seen all season where a team has really pushed Melbourne City, and it's not a fluent game of football, but there's so many fantastic jewels out there that you know, there's another element of football that I'm really enjoying.
Here's Alassane Toure. Unfortunately, it heads for the tunnel in that corner of the ground. He's right, Archie, that they really have, Adelaide United, tried to get in the grill of Melbourne City. Lovely touch. He's just unable to find McLaren. A bit too much on that through ball.
Well done, Timoteo, because Delianov had lost his feet. Couldn't come out and clear it. Needed his central defender to do that for him.
Tilio rides the challenge of Goodwin pretty easily in the end. Low centre of gravity that he's got. His first touch took him straight into Jamison. Berenguer gets through to Mork. Real burst of energy there from the Frenchman. Maroney. It's the first line. It's a better touch that time from Yengi, who's got Raish. Close attention. Halloran. Haven't seen much of him last couple of minutes. Toure, little dink, trying to find Halloran again. He's got just about everything in his locker, Al-Hassan, in an attacking sense, in a short, creative passing sense.
Yeah, that had a lot of potential. And again, the Timoteo pass out of defence, penetrating the Melbourne City midfield, and away Adelaide went. In the exchange between Halloran and Alassane Toure was pretty tasty. Had a lot of potential.
Goodwin, big switch. That's a good ball to Halloran, right in his path. It'll just roll in his way. Yengi, he was there before good, but couldn't get anything on it. Goodwin. Switch paying dividends again for Adelaide. Goodwin back on his left. Asking a bit of Timoteo, who does well. Mork. Alassane Toure. Oh, he got past Jamison, who had a little nibble. Mork can't get anything on the shot. And City come away. Kolakowski. McLaren in front of him. Tilio joining in down the right, but Kolakowski didn't quite get those cues correct.
Well, there again, another one to frustrate Carl Viet. They had two excellent sights at goal, Adelaide, in the one attack. Came up short, and then on counter-attack, they might have been chewing a much more bitter pill.
So Daniel Georgievski, a club debut, the former Melbourne Victory and Newcastle Jet and Western Sydney Wanderer. And Scott Galloway makes way. So 2 goals and 2 for Scott Galloway. His night is done, and so too Josh Cavallo. So a change in shape coming here for Adelaide United. They're throwing everything at it. Mohamed Toure, the younger Toure, 17-year-old Toure, is out there with his brother. This will be fun to watch in the last, I'll give it 15 minutes with the time added on. Yengi, Toure and Toure all out there for Adelaide. Goodwin's gone back to left back, so it's not a change in shape. Berenguer's fallen over by himself. Perhaps it's a bit of cramp. Tilio's touch is too heavy. Gets a little one on Elsey, who scrambles to his feet. Halloran, didn't quite get that right. Through ball. Lover's a long way from home, so he elects to go down the line and out. Nearly took Paddy off his esky there. They should get the Melbourne City, once Paddy's recovered, they should get Melbourne City to sign that. Fill it full of the liquor of the buyer's choice and sell it off at auction to raise money for the Blue Ribbon Brigade. The Blue Ribbon Cup tonight, presentation after the game to the winner, and the Tony Clark Best on Ground will be presented to a chosen player, the father and son respectively of the late Tony Clark, who was killed in the line of duty for Victoria Police. Holloway and Kolakowski, Goodwin and Kolakowski get involved with each other. Yeah, great charity supporting Victoria Police. Goodwin. What do you make of this? Craig Goodwin back to left back.
Well, it's not unfamiliar territory to him. It's a good adjustment.
He made his A-League debut playing for Melbourne Heart at left back at the same time as working at KFC. As Elsey goes in on Tilio and everyone springs to their feet. Tilio is the one to launch himself forward. He's got McLaren waiting at the back stick. Jamie McLaren, a tap in. He's broken his own season record. That's 24 for the campaign and a big 3 points for Melbourne City.
Well, they're pretty ruthless, Melbourne City. Adelaide not so tonight on chances. It's loose in possession. Elsey can't tidy it up. Well done to Tilio. Does a flip and then gets up. I think Timotheo is a bit slow to come across, to be honest. I think that one needed to be slowed down outside the penalty area. And once that doesn't happen, Tilio can make the way unchallenged that deep into the penalty area. Puts it on a tee for Jamie McLaren. He's barely going to miss from there. And blink and you've missed it. The score has blown out incredibly.
So they are checking a couple of things. Possible offside on Jamie McLaren. I reckon he was about right, but also the tangle with Elsey and also Tilio. I thought if anything, it was Tilio being fouled.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And it's just the offside. If that's even questionable. That was poor from Adelaide. They've been so good tonight. Poor possession, poor ball control. Jordan Elsey needed to win that one clean.
Hang on a minute. Alex King's coming over.
Oh, mate, you can freeze anything.
Yeah. I think we're coming back because Tilio ends up standing on Elsey, even though he got a touch on the ball, which sent it his way. It's good that they're having a look at it in real time. Elsey didn't look to complain at all. Alex King's okay with it. I'm glad they looked at it in real time, firstly. Because I'm with you about the slow-mo, and I mean, I can look like a contortionist if I've got a little freeze frame of me falling to the ground.
It was not for a second did Jordan Elsey react in that challenge. At any rate, there was nothing clear and obvious about it. And thankfully, it didn't take too long. to back his own and original call.
Which he didn't do last week in Newcastle.
Wrongly.
With the Babot penalty for Sydney FC. We go on, and Melbourne City look like they go on and open up this near insurmountable lead at the top of the Premiership race. Live Ladder has them on 44, and they're looking for more. Here goes City again. Luna. Kolakovsky looking to link up with Luna. Kolakovsky nearly gets on the end of it. It's Delianov, and Goodwin waiting for Delianov. Took no chances in the end, and Adelaide come away. Al Hassan Toure. Finds Mohammed, little 1-2. Mohammed Toure actually has his hands up for a little handball shout there. McLaren, just what George Timoteo didn't want. Having to chase him down. McLaren on a hat-trick. It's good defending in the end from Timoteo. Delianov's going to have to stretch everything to try and not give away the corner.
Well, it's just looking like it's running a bit bare for Adelaide, which would be a shame for them. And Melbourne City are the super team of the comp, and there's no denying that. But this hasn't been a 4-1 game. And as things stand, that margin might even blow out more. They're looking pretty hungry to ram this one completely down Adelaide's throats, Melbourne City.
What a turn and a release. Oh, Glover, well done. Off his line, stopping Goodwin. Kolakovsky. There's some tired bodies out there, especially from Adelaide United. They've thrown some punches at their opposition tonight. They've had a right go at them. And yeah, they've come away, and I don't think there's, like you say, Harps, that the scoreline could be given too much attention in the postscript.
Except if the discussion about goal difference comes in for Adelaide, who, care of this result, will be still in that race. 5 or 6 teams between them can't buy a win. Draws, and in this case for Adelaide, a loss. That should be a foul on Curtis Goodwin, outstanding.
Coming on for Craig Goodwin and Ryan Kiddo as well. So preserving for a few minutes at least some of the legs they'll need in the next few games. Adelaide United, as mentioned, it's a heavy schedule. They've got Brisbane at home this weekend, and then Perth away next Wednesday, and then Melbourne Victory away the weekend after. All of those games to take place before the 23rd of May.
And I've just done a quick count. 20 games. In the last 20 games from positions 2 to 5, Central Coast, Sydney, Adelaide and Macarthur, 20 games. There's 3 wins for those teams across 20 games, positions 2 to 5. It's a case of the collective yips. Incredible. Look at that ladder.
Pressed like a street vendor's burrito in New York. It's just got everything in it, that ladder. It's fantastic. And here go Melbourne City again, looking for another one, looking for a 5th. Halloran's back there, giving away the foul. And unfortunately for Ben Halloran, who was kicked a bit throughout these 90 minutes, he finds himself in the book.
I don't know, that needs to be a yellow card, to be honest. The 2 defenders, whether Ben need to make the challenge is the other point. There were 2 Adelaide players right in Tilio's way. It's not a tackle that's denied a goal scoring or an attacking opportunity. It was a foul, and that's it. And what another good night for Melbourne City. They've been tested tonight. The difference between the teams is that Adelaide City have a clear and demonstrable ruthless streak, and tonight Adelaide haven't.
Here goes City again. Griffiths Oh, McLaren's in to the byline and across just beyond Berenguer, who probably deserves something out of this one in a scoring sense. He's been very good, the Frenchman, tonight.
Agree with that. He has been very, very good. Lovely cutback from McLaren, and he was found beautifully by Kolakowski. They're intent on running this one out, Melbourne City. They're Adelaide intent on running with them.
Go back to something that Archie Thompson saw in one of those demolition derbies. Pedicus Norbo screaming at his team, and the result was not only beyond doubt, but it was in another stratosphere in terms of the margin between the two sides. But there's just relentless intent from this side right until the final whistle. Something you haven't been able to say about the A-League side in this club throughout their existence. And now, Tilio. Go Adelaide. Mork riding one challenge, trying to look for Yengi. It's just beyond him. Here come the Seagulls. Here comes Kiddo for Adelaide. Stopped by Georgievski. Number of Wanderers to leave the club mid-season. Daniel Georgievski, here's Jamison. Out to Tilio. Like his chances here. Marco Tilio late in the game, floats the cross to no one, goal kick. Adelaide will be hoping that one day, who missed tonight with hamstring, is okay soon. And also Joe Gauci, his quad injury that he picked up in the warm-up tonight isn't too bad. They can ill afford to lose cattle on the verge of the finals. They might get Michael Jakobsen back on the weekend, which is good news for them because he's certainly made a difference at the back when he's played this season. Yeah.
And credit to Delianov, who's had to watch Joe Gauci rise in status, and he's been excellent tonight too. Superb saves, generally a good performance as well, on top of those outstanding saves.
Number 2, and Mork. Halloran. Maroney's cross is deflected into the path of Yengi. Georgievski just gets enough on it. And the only thing you could say about Delianov is that maybe you could have a word to Joe Gauci about penalties, given what Joe did up in Gosford with 2 penalty saves in the one game. Delianov electing not to go anyway for the penalty of this man. Jamie McLaren looking for a hat-trick and having a go, always rising. But yeah, those 2 saves in particular really stand out about what Delianov has done this evening. Even though he's had to pick the ball up out of his own net 4 times. Number 2. Halloran. Here's a chance for Adelaide. Halloran for a double. Oh, his first touch lets him down, strangely enough. He tries to have a go at Tilio, and Tilio blocks him. There's been a series of steps over the past couple of weeks, Melbourne City, toward this maiden premiership. Tonight is a big one. They go 11 points clear at the top. Before tonight, they needed 9 points from 6 to make it mathematically impossible for anyone else to take top spot. And now they just need 6 points from a possible 5.